Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everybody, I miss you so much. This is the first lesson for the second term, Unit 7, Literature, about the great author Charles Dickens. When we talk about Charles Dickens, we are talking about a person who is remarkable, lived in England in 19th century. He was a very influential author, but he lived unfortunately with a poor family. When we talk about Charles Dickens, as you show in student book page 58, I want you please to follow me, student book page 58. First of all, I'm going to tell you something about this great author. Charles Dickens lived in a poor family, as I said before. He said a phrase, it is famous and it is remarkable, as many famous people said phrases. He said goodbye childhood when he was only 8 years old. He was the second son or child among 8 in his family. And you know that 8 members in a family in England in 19th century is too many. Okay, his mom was a teacher. She tried many times to improve the circumstances and financial position of her family. Unfortunately, again, Charles' father was fraud. Fraud, it means a person who had financial problems with other people, and it's a negative character or a negative adjective. Okay, now let me say something about the nickname. This is a question I want you to bear in your mind, that what's the nickname for Charles Dickens? The nickname for Charles Dickens is Boz. B-O-Z, Boz. Of course, Charles Dickens wrote and left school. He was a great boy, quiet boy, not as ordinary boys who like playing. On the contrary, he liked to be alone. Not autism, of course, but his condition, his circumstances. Okay, let's start by, now I hope that you open your student book. Have you opened your student book? Okay. Charles Dickens was born on 7th February 1812. Notice the preposition of time on. With dates, I mean a day, a month, and a year. We use on Monday, on Sunday. We have here the date 7th February, so it's on, not in. If we exclude the day and we talk about months or years, we can use in December, in January, in March, in April, and so on. He was a quiet boy who loved reading. Notice the catenative verbs, okay? Notice the catenative verbs, liked, followed by, loved, followed by ing. Okay. When he spoke later of his refers to Charles' childhood. He said that he remembered. We'll talk about this specific verb, remember. It can be followed by to infinitive or ing according to the meaning. Okay. He remembered listening to children playing outside as he sat indoors. In this age, students usually play outdoors. So what's wrong with Charles? Okay. His father had financial problem, as I said. He was fraud, a bad man. Suddenly, his father had financial problem, so Charles was no longer able to, this is another catenative verb, okay, followed by to infinitive, able to, able to, and we'll have to shed light on it later on, inshallah. Okay, then we have some details about any pronoun in this paragraph. His or he refers to Charles Dickens. He had to work at a factory. The loneliness he felt there, it refers to a place. T-H-E-R-E, it refers to the factory, line 13, was an important influence on his writing, especially in his books, Great Expectation. And we'll talk about A Great Expectation and the major character, Beb and Miss Havisham. Great Expectation, it talks about a very poor boy. By the way, when we read for this great author, Charles Dickens, you can face or counter or see in every novel, in every scene, there is a little boy, there is a child. Some critics said that he mentioned himself in Oliver Twist, in Great Expectation, as I mentioned before, with Beb. We'll talk it later, inshallah, we'll talk about it, okay. Important influence on his writing, especially on his books, Great Expectation and David Copperfield. When he was 14, Charles stopped going. We have another stop here, the verb stop. It can be followed by to infinitive or ing with different meaning. We'll explain it later, inshallah. Together and started working as a clerk. A clerk, as you can see in your booklet, it has a meaning, someone who keeps records or accounts in an office. Okay, it's on page 39 in your booklet. When he was 14, Charles stopped going to school together and started working as a clerk in a lawyer's office in London. He didn't like working there. There it means to the lawyer's office here, lawyer's office, there. So we have two words in this text, there. The first one appears in 13, line 13, there, refers to factory. Then we have in 20, there, refers to the lawyer's office. Luckily, things changed for him again. Charles had always wanted to be a writer, and he became a very respected journalist. We'll talk about types of books and journalist, the person who writes for a magazine or newspaper, journalist. Our brothers, the Egyptian, said journal. It's from journalist. Okay. He began to write short pieces for publication in the newspaper in 1836. A series of pieces called the Pickwick Paper appeared monthly in the newspaper and were very popular. Dickens was a famous author by then. So author, the person who writes for others, published for others, not for himself. If I write for myself, I am a writer. If I write for myself only, like what most of you do, they write some memoir or memoirs that we call. This is for ourselves. This is to be a writer. Many of our students are writers. They wrote for themselves or for their Arabic teacher or English teacher for some purposes, of course. Throughout the last paragraph here, throughout his life, Dickens enjoyed traveling. About the word traveling, here we have double L according to the British spelling. If we write it traveling, L, only L, one L, it's American, and this is something acceptable here in Jordan to write either in British or American spelling ways. Doesn't matter. So it's up to you. We are in Jordan. God protect Jordan and its people again from this coronavirus. He traveled to many countries writing novels and giving talks about cruelty of slavery. You know, slavery, it refers to slave. Yes. In 19th century, it is something common. But nowadays, thanks God, it is finished. And giving talks about cruelty of slavery. Novels such as Oliver Twist, it might be the bestseller book by Charles Dickens. And we have what we called, by the way, Charles Dickens composed about 76 books. And they estimated the amount of money of this by $95,000. What we can say nowadays, this is in 19th century, nowadays about $1.5 million. So he is a great person, a great character. Of course, he had, as we said, a very tough childhood. He died on, again we have on because we have date. He died on 8th June 1870 at the age of 58. Of course, as I mentioned, we have some steps in Charles Dickens' life. He met a girl around 18 years old. The girl was about 18 years, and he was around 45 when he fell in love with her. After a very great love story, he wrote A Tale of Two Cities, and he has a great expectation. And recently there is a film called The Shade of a Woman in 2013. That's something. Okay, now I let you do the booklets questions on page in your booklet 39. We have 14 questions. Okay, I want you to do them. Then I'll have just a moment, a break. Hello again. We are back. Okay, about catenative verbs, it means a verb which is followed either by to infinitive or ing. Let's start by the group of the verb followed by ing. I want you to say, for example, number one, avoid doing, avoid chatting, avoid breaking. Notice the verb. Dislike, favor, mind, suggest, give up, hate. We have around roughly 27 verbs that are followed by the ing. I want you to keep them in mind. You can, of course, recite either the first group or the second group. We have here, I dislike watching a news program. I always enjoy reading stories. It's like this. That means when we have correct the verb, a question, when we have correct the verb, and after correct the verb, we have space. You have to keep in your mind what's the verb before the space from the first group or the second group. If it is, for example, from the verb admit or deny or differ or mention, avoid, dislike, this is the first group, it must be followed by ing. This is number one, or sheet number one. Okay, now according to number two here, verbs followed by to infinitive, I want you to focus on this group because it is, I think, easier somehow to say agree to, aim to, attempt to. If you practice doing like that, it will be nice for you. Hope to, ask to, decide to, arrange to. Of course, we will meet some verbs which can be both with ing or with to infinitive. We'll talk to them soon, inshallah. Okay, so we have here, I like playing piano. I like to play the piano. I like eating, for example, mansaf, or I like to eat. If we say to, it means you are planning to do something. You haven't did it yet. Okay, so we have in the third one here a group of, remember, this is very important, remember to plus infinitive, it means remember what one has to do. You have to say, for example, I remember to buy some books. That means you are going to buy some books. But when we say, I remember visiting my student, that means really I did visit him or her. So our lesson about the verb remember. Remember, it can be followed by to infinitive or ing. When we talk about to infinitive, we are talking about an action which we are going to do. But when we talk about ing, it means we have already done it. Again, we have the verb try. Try plus to infinitive, it means make an effort. I tried sailing when I was in Aqaba. This means I swam. So I had an experiment. That means I felt the water, if it is warm or cold or something like that. But when you say, I tried to open the door, I tried to change the bulb, I tried to do my best, that means you are trying, that means you are attempting or making effort. The third verb is stop. Stop, it can be followed by to infinitive. We stopped to drink coffee. Why do we stop? To drink coffee. This is the purpose, in order to do something. But when we say that I stopped watching crazy movies, that means something else. Okay? Stopped, it means give up doing something. Stopped. I stopped, for example, I stopped watching TV. That means no longer I will teach it. That's about some of the verbs. Okay, now we have an exercise in a student book. The first exercise for catenative verb. Page 59, please. Follow me. Page 59. Charles was a quiet boy who loved reading. Loved reading. He remembered listening to children playing outside. Because we are talking about previous period. Something happened. He remembered. We can say he remembered too. But according to the text, we are talking about the biography of Charles Dickens. And as I said before, biography, it consists of 3 syllables or 3 meaning. Bio, it means life. Graph, it means write. Auto, it means self. Autobiography, as Taha Hussein, the Egyptian novelist, الروائي المصري كتب عنه الأيام, days. He wrote about himself. This is autobiography. But Mikhail Naima, the Lebanese one, he wrote about Gibran. It is biography. So now we are dealing with biography, not autobiography. Autobiography, it means to write about yourself. Auto, it means self. Bio, it means life. Autobiography. So here, the third space, when he was 12, Charles was no longer able to attend school regularly. At the age of 14, he stopped going to school altogether and started working as clerk. Some people pronounce it a clerk. It's acceptable, by the way. Clerk or clerk. Okay. Jordan first, as you know. We can pronounce it in the way we like. Lawyer's office in London. After that, he began to write. He began to write. We can say he began writing if the experience is done. But two, it means he is planning to do something. Short pieces for the newspaper. He enjoyed traveling. Focus on travel, it's double L-I-N-G or L-I-N-G. Both are okay, very much. To and traveled all over the world. That's the exercise. You can, of course, re-see or re-watch, replay this video later. You can in our group, the first secondary MIS, and we'll have to broadcasting, inshallah, it later on our faces or on our schools page. Another, we have exercise 6. This is multiple choice. I want you to be aware of this kind of questions. What do you suggest? Suggest playing or to play? Of course it is. Yes, it's a playing. Suggest a playing sport or reading or to read. Reading or to read? Reading. Because or and it must be like the one before it. Number 2, do you ever avoid learning a new language? What do you hope? Hope it's something for the future. You can say hope to do when you finish school, inshallah, when you finish school next year by a great average. What do you enjoy? Enjoy what? Doing, to do. Of course, doing. Enjoy doing. Where do you want to go? What are you planning to? Do you remember? Notice about remember. Remember, it can be followed by 2 groups. Either we can say it's in the past, as I said before. Remember, starting school for. What are, or do you remember starting school for the first time? You are in the last days of your school. The last one, would you ever consider moving, not to move. Would you ever consider moving to another country? Okay? This is exercise in your booklet or student book, page 59. I want you to study it once, twice, 3 times. It's up to you. But this is a very important grammar lesson for writing. Okay. Now we have on the activity book, page 40 in your worksheet. It's here. Okay. Okay. Yes. You can say here, for example, the first one, exercise number 2. Exercise number 2, we have swim, ride, have, study, play. Okay. Number 1, we have, of course, on the box, the verb swim, ride, have, study. There is some hints in the sentences that means you can stick to specific verb. So you have to read the sentence, then you have to fill the gaps. 2 steps. First of all, read it, then we can do it. Number 1, I don't like space in the sea. What we do in the sea? We swim, of course. It's too cold. So we can write it's like to swim or like swimming? It's too cold. That means we felt the water temperature. So the answer is I don't like swimming. Right, yes, swimming. I don't like swimming in the sea. It's too cold. Number two, we wanted to play. We wanted to play tennis, but it was raining. To play, we arranged to play, but unfortunately it's raining. Thanks God it's raining in order to study. But we have to get rid of coronavirus, inshallah, soon, inshallah. Stay at your homes, study, and be cool. When I was younger, I'm talking about previous age, I loved my bike. What we are doing with our bikes? We are riding. So, loved riding. Notice here, we have to delete the E, of course. Then, loved riding my bike. They suggested having lunch at the Japanese restaurant. They suggested having lunch at the Japanese restaurant, but don't go outside, you know, it's a curfew. No one are allowed to go out of their house. He's hoping to study. Then we have here the number 3, exercise number 3. Let's have a break for you, okay? Then I want you, after you watch this video, to write comment, okay, in order to be live next time, inshallah, and deal with it as we wish. We are back. Hello, everybody. Okay, exercise 3 in workbook, page 40. Workbook, exercise 3, page 40. Some of the verbs, some, not all of them, some of the verbs from 1 to 7 in the following dialogue are incorrect. Incorrect. It means wrong or unacceptable. Rewrite them correctly. Hi, Lubna. Where are you going? Lubna, I'm just off to the library. I want taking. No, it's not taking, sorry. I want to take. This is the right answer, not taking. So you have to change taking, number 1, to take. That's it. Then, number 2, I have just finished to read. No, it's not to read. Finished reading. That's it. Then, number 3. Oh, I prefer listening. Okay, why not? Acceptable. Listening it's okay. He said some of the verb. This is number 3 is okay. Don't change it. Number 4, I spend so much time to drive. No, it's not to drive. Driving is the right answer. Okay. This is the point. Then we have number 5. I'm considering means thinking. I'm considering downloading. Okay, downloading. Why not? It's okay. Electronic books from the internet. That's way I will be able to take, not taking. So you have to change this one. Number 6, I want you to change it from taking into to take. Okay? And we have, that's a good idea. Yes, I just love sitting, not to sit. So change number 7 from to sit into sitting. Don't forget to make sitting double T. Sitting. Okay? This is our lesson. Now, the last step of our meeting today about types of books. We'll deal with them soon, inshallah. Okay. Okay. It's a very simple student book, page 60. Student book, page 60. We have types of books. We have short stories. Of course, when we say stories, short stories, we are dealing with number. We are dealing with number. We'll biography. Notice bio. What we say, it's bio. It's a prefix. It means life. So any sentence with the word life, this word is the suitable one for it. Novel, riwaya, from the word nov, it means new. Okay. Poetry, شعر, poetry. Play, مسرحية. Non-fiction. The last one, it's about volcanoes, of course. Okay, Julius Caesar, it's a great play by Shakespeare. So the first one is Julius Caesar, a play. You know, a play is a verb, is a noun, tamam? You can say it's a play and we are going to play something. Here it's play. Now, Dombey and Son, a novel by Charles Dickens, our figure for today, Charles Dickens. A child, gardens of verses. Verses, it has two meanings. Either it's a verse in Holy Quran, ayat, verses, or on poetry, اللي هو الشعر. فهنا معناها اللي هي أبيات. Anthology by Robert Louis Stevenson. 1,000, this is a number, pay attention. 1,001 nights. 1,001 nights, a group of what? Short stories. Yes, that's right, because it's a number. A group of stories, short stories told by a clever woman to keep herself alive. Shakespeare's life. We're talking about life. So, by J. Maxwell, a biography of this famous playwright. Yes, Shakespeare is a playwright. صحيح. All about volcanoes and informative non-fiction book. Thank you very much for joining me this session today. I hope we'll meet again and again. Inshallah, we shall overcome coronavirus and be back to our great school MIS, مدارس المحور الدولية. I'm with you, Nidal Amira. I broadcasting this video for my great girls student, but it can be shown or watched by any of our students in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan with a lot of love. God bless our country, Jordan. God bless you, all my great student, my cute student. Miss you so much. Thank you.